making him owe you, making him bring something into your life, a blessing, when you know that you're already blessed in every good thing in Jesus Christ. You're already, in a sense, blessed in everything. And there will be no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. And it's all secure. Then what's your motivation? You know, I've had somebody say to me once, well, if a Christian really isn't afraid that he's going to go to hell, then what's his motivation for living a good life? And I say, oh, if you're telling me that you wonder why, if all your fears go away, you'd have any motivation to live a good life, that means the only motivation you have for living a good life is fear. I got a better one. It's love. When you're infinitely loved, you want to infinitely love. And that's the gospel. Hey, lastly, how does this point us to Christ? Job was a relatively innocent sufferer. And because he was true to God, relatively true to God, in a pretty imperfect way, he brought about great good. What was the great good? Well, obviously, he was raised up at the end of his suffering and his family was restored. But it's also true, by the way, that there have been hundreds of millions of people over the years who have learned from the book of Job and have been helped by the book of Job. Job's suffering, he didn't know why he was suffering. And somebody once said to me, what if somebody had shown up and said to Job, hey, by the way, even though you're going to suffer here for a while, it's going to make you one of the most famous people in the history of the world. Everybody's going to read about you. You're going to help everybody. And then Job would have said, oh, okay, I didn't know that. Okay, then I'll just hold it. Well, if he'd done that, what would that have meant? It would have meant he wasn't loving God for himself alone. He was doing it in order to get fame. But what's fascinating here is that Job, because he relatively innocently suffered and relatively faithfully suffered, brought great good. But Jesus Christ is the true innocent sufferer, perfectly innocent, who is completely faithful to God, never questioned, and brought about infinite good. Infinite good. And that's the reason why, though Jesus' suffering doesn't completely eliminate our suffering now, it will eliminate it someday. We're going to live with him forever, and every tear will be wiped away. Every tear will be wiped away.